Para las personas que prefieren escuchar esta junta en español, pueden pasar con nuestro equipo de intérpretes al fondo de la sala del Concilio de la ciudad para recibir asistencia. Si prefiere ver la transmisión desde su computador o dispositivo móvil, puede seguir toda la junta completamente en español en la página web sanantonio.gov/TVSA, o también desde su televisor usando el sistema SAP en los canales que ve en pantalla. Por último, no olvide descargar la agenda de esta junta en la página web en español de la ciudad de San Antonio en sanantonio.gov/español.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our A session agenda. Time is 9:17 a.m. Thank you very much for your patience as we get started this morning. It is May 15th, 2025. We'll call our meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Councilmember Kaur.
Present.
Councilmember Mickey Rodriguez.
Present.
Councilmember Villagran. Councilmember Rocha Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Castillo.
Here.
Councilmember Cabello Haverda.
Here.
Councilmember Alderete Gavito.
Here.
Councilmember Pelaez. Councilmember Courage.
Present.
Councilmember White. Mayor Nierenberg. Mayor, we have quorum.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our A session agenda. And to start us this morning, I'm going to turn the floor over to Councilmember Kaur to welcome our invocator.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my honor to welcome Melanie Hardwood to offer the invocation for us this morning. Melanie's a teacher at Divine Yoga, which is a spot off Sunset and Broadway, the northeastmost corner of District 1. And she's a 500-hour instructor for Kundalini Yoga. So yoga is actually a Sanskrit word for union, and in the context of yoga practice, this union refers to a harmonious integration of body, mind, and spirit. And it offers a state of oneness within oneself and the divine. So known as yoga awareness, Kundalini Yoga is especially geared towards cultivating the inner wisdom. As royal yoga, the practice incorporates the use of posture, breath, hand positions, focus, and sacred sound. Recognizing the depth of transformation offered, Melanie was moved to teach to help people overwhelmed by stress, relational difficulties, limiting patterns, and trauma. The practice also supports her in her professional life as well, where she works as a division marketing director for KB Home. And for today's invocation, Melanie's asked that we stay seated. I'll pass it over to you. Thank you for being here, Melanie.
Thank you so much. Good morning. The yogic tradition teaches that we each carry many aspects within us, including habit, fear, conditioning, and ego. But we also have rich capacities to something deeper, the space of the soul, and the neutral mind. This is the part of us that doesn't react, doesn't judge, and doesn't need to compare or separate to feel secure. As humans, we are inherently biased. This isn't because we're bad, it's because our minds are constantly trying to locate identity. I am this, not that. I belong, they don't. The ego defines itself by contrast. Through cultivating neutrality, we soften the urge to define and defend, creating a pause between stimulus and response. And in that pause, love, understanding, and wisdom have space to lead. Leadership that serves all begins here, with the courage to meet our own inner world honestly and with stillness, and to extend that same spaciousness to others. So Kundalini Yoga isn't about words, it is about experience. So we're going to take just a short little time this morning to do a little bit of breath work, to have a short little experience together. So I invite you all to participate and join in with me today. So first, put your feet flat on the floor and straighten the spine, lifting the chest. We're going to use our hands for this as well. Place your thumb underneath your pinky finger, and then wrap your fingers around your thumb. Bring your hands together, joining that middle segment of your finger right at the level of the heart. Close your eyes. We'll begin a breath pattern here. Inhale through the nose. And when you exhale, exhale through rounded lips. Then inhale rounded lips. And exhale through your nose. Continue, that's inhale nose. Exhale rounded lips. Inhale, rounded lips. And exhale, nose. My voice will drop off. We'll be in silence just for a short bit together. Keep your breath going. When we're meditating on the breath, we're meditating on life itself. And now relax your hands down, keep the eyes closed. From this space of open awareness, we offer our prayer. We acknowledge the oneness, the infinite creative energy that moves through all beings and all things. This divine presence is beyond name and beyond form, yet expresses itself uniquely through each of us as insight, compassion, courage, and service. May we remember that we are not separate, but interconnected. That leadership does not arise from control, but from attunement to each other, to the citizens served, and to our inner wisdom. May the work done here today be guided by clarity, inspired by unity, and rooted in love. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. If you can now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all. We do have, as you can see, many people we would like to recognize today. But before we do that, let me ask my colleagues if there are any items to pull from the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll do item number 3 first, which is the approval of the City Council meeting minutes. Item 3 is the meeting minutes of November 21, 2024, as well as April 30th, 2025, and May 1st, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for those. All right, there's a motion and a second for approval of the minutes as read in item number 3. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion carries. All right. We do have a full consent agenda, and item number 4 is the only item that's for individual briefing. Are there any items to pull from the consent agenda at this time?
I have one. Item 16, please.
Item 16. Any others? Okay, so the following items are for individual consideration or briefing today, items 4 and 16. If there's no objection, I'll ask for a motion on the remainder, will be on consent, items 4 through 15. Okay, there's a motion and a second for approval of all items save for 4 and 16. We do have signed up to speak on items remaining on consent. Let me call them now. I understand there's some groups here. And if you give me just a moment, let me call up Jack Finger on item 15.
Well, good morning, Mayor Nierenberg, other members of our illustrious San Antonio City Council. For the record, my name is Jack M. Finger. One item I wish to bring to your attention is item number 15 on today's meeting agenda, and see if you can, Mr. Audiovisual Man, see if you can look at the underlined area. Number 15, an ordinance approving the execution of an interlocal agreement between the City of San Antonio and Via Metropolitan Transit, establishing a cooperative partnership to deliver the east-west, not north and south this time, but east-west Silver Line Advanced Rapid Transit Corridor project. Yes, okay, return the camera. Yeah. Now, folks, this is about, well, you had such a big controversy regarding the north-south Green Line. Many of you had people could come up to this very podium and say, don't do it because it's an encroachment into our neighborhoods. It's going to cause big problems for our actually cause traffic jams and on San Pedro and so forth, because you will be taking away our motorist lanes specifically for buses, lanes that we paid for with our tax dollars. We, the motorists, paid for that. Well, now you're going to do the same exact thing, this time with a different corridor going east and west. Yes, commerce through the east side there. Yes. Why are you doing this? Yeah. Mr. Audiovisual Man, a number of defects we've noticed with this right here. Look at the underlined area. This is in your backup documents here. It says the ART, that's Advanced Rapid Transit Vehicles, run in dedicated and mixed-use lanes. I repeat, dedicated and mixed-use lanes. Return the camera if you would. Yes, in writing, it's telling us that you're going to steal our motorist lanes. Yeah. Now here's a big good question. What if motorists, some jerk of a motorist says, well, I need to get ahead, so I'm going to travel into that via lane, huh? And who's going to stop him? Is there going to be a traffic cop around to say no, don't do that, and ticket him? Now, Mr. Audiovisual, to turn to flip the page and see how much is this going to cost? The fiscal impact? This is what I love the most. There is no fiscal impact associated with this ordinance. Thank you. Return the camera. I'd love that. I mean, how many millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are we going to spend on this, and there's no fiscal impact on this? Is anybody going to pull this to just to at least talk about it? Thank you.
I'll ask now Lloyd Welty to come up. Mr. Welty on item number 8. And if you all are here with a group, will you let me know? And that way they can come up with you. Mr. Welty, do you have anyone with you who's speaking? If you're coming up with a group, just go ahead and come all up. And if you can just identify who you are, and I can knock you off the list here.
I'm Lloyd Welty.
You all are speaking together?
Well, we weren't. We were signed up separate, but we're all.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're signed up separate, then just go ahead and take your time separately. Then I apologize.
Good morning, members of council. I'm Lloyd Welty, Vice President of Pick and Pull Incorporated and AAA Auto Recyclers located on the south side of San Antonio. Pick and Pull has been saving the residents of San Antonio money for 39 years. During this task force on this rewrite of Chapter 16, we have spent over 50 hours rewriting the current code to bring it up to better standards. This process has been a long process that started early last fall. The task force was put on a break due to the public appointees not showing up to the meetings or walking out during the meetings. During March of 2025, the task force met twice a week for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours and put numerous hours into this. While progress was made, once again, we had to educate a new set of public appointees about our industries and operations and the good we do for the environment and the residents of San Antonio. There's an article on citizen.org that called out for the public to email and contact council members to vote against this proposed Chapter 16 rewrite. One of the things on that is non-conforming grandfathered use. The public task force members think that we have non-conforming use because we are not appropriate for operational use because we are in flood zones. When the reason for this is we were open and operating outside of the city limits before being annexed into the city of San Antonio as it expanded. This is a state law in order to allow small business owners to keep their businesses and provide valuable services to the city citizens. This was explained in depth to them by the DSD. The public task force members agreed to URAP code matching the MRE as far as being able to repair, put up new buildings on our properties, so as the environmental concerns increase, we can build new buildings to put environmental concerns under cover. This current right is in the MRE code that was written in 2012. For some reason, it got left out of the other part of Chapter 16. In the two parts of Chapter 16 under the old chapter, there were 13 sections with the exact wording and 5 additional sections that had minor wording changes or missing entire. The proposed changes have 14 sections that are exactly the same and 4 that are slightly different. The public is saying that they don't want us to be able to expand into parcels that are not non-conforming. There's a clause written in Section 16-187 for UAPRs, and it has been in effect for the MREs in Section 16-204 since the current chapter was written in 2012. Better environment, or better enforcement. The public wants better enforcement. Our problem with this is a homeowner, if the tree is tearing up his sidewalk, he's got 30 days to get a repair or approve contracts. The industry agreed to take this down from 30 days on our side to 3 days. Kind of unfair on businesses versus public when the businesses reduce their days to repair by 90%.
Thank you, Mr. Welty. I have Marwan Hosseini. Mr. Hosseini, you'll be followed by Art Ramos.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marwan Hosseini. I'm the owner of a salvage yard, recycling yard in San Antonio. I want to thank everyone who participated in all the code updates, especially the city staff and all the task force members. There are a couple things I'd like to share and clarify with the community. First, let's define what constitutes an unconforming use for a salvage recycling yard is. These properties were designated as such when they were annexed to the city limits to allow them to continue their existing land use. It's a state law to protect properties when annexed to the city. Second, I'd like to address the concern about a salvage yard UARP. Our industry faces a challenge in buildings on our properties to protect our parts from being weather conditioned. Salvage yards hold parts to build up inventory and provide for customers when parts are needed. We prefer to have a nice and organized warehouse and avoid leaving parts outside that might be damaged or harmful to the environment due to the exposure. Imagine telling your employees that they have to work underneath the heat and rains because we're not allowed to add a building or a structure on our existing land use. Lastly, let's remember that our industry creates a job for over 500 families in San Antonio. We want to help people fix their cars instead of pushing them to be buried with the new car loans and payments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hosseini. Ramos? Mr. Ramos, you'll be followed by Jeff Vexler.
Good morning. I am a concerned citizen, small business owner, and I'm here to express how much Monterey Iron means not only to the community, but also how much they mean to my own family. They have been supporting my family for 22 years, selling scrap iron to Monterey, and my father before that. I deal with the kind of recyclables items that don't fit in a blue bin. The kinds of things that I take in are so heavy they require specialized equipment to dismantle. Heavy forklifts, large flatbeds, manpower, and an insurance to complete. These jobs aren't ones your average person can do. It takes a skill that many do not have. Remember, not everyone can sit at a desk behind a computer. Dirty jobs are real jobs too. The Vexlers are an amazing family. When I was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks, they called every day checking on me. Once I'm home, I couldn't work for 14 weeks as I had to heal from a major surgery. They not only checked on me, but they also checked on my wife and the family, knowing it was a stressful time. Over the years, people would call Monterey about scrapping heavy machines. Monterey would speak so highly of my skills to these people and companies, they would call me. This century-old family business has been here to care for recycling, but it's also about the community and employees that have grown with them. I know some people don't understand what Monterey means to the community, economic means, since they are able to give a better price due to having a shredder, and with the shredder, it allows them to keep the scrap piles down, not only for the place, but also the other scrap yards around the city, Somerset Road, and the auto recyclers down Laredo Highway that sell scrap to Monterey, which allows these smaller companies to make money and pay their employees. The impact would cause a ripple effect that would affect more than just one family business. An attack on the Vexlers is an attack on the Ramos family because they are family.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Jeff Vexler? Mr. Vexler, you'll be followed by Manny Morales.
We're going to speak as a group.
Sure. Who's with you, Jeff?
Let's see. We have Alexander Sanders, Curtis Moorhead, Peter Kane, and Mike Molina.
Okay.
Is that all
You'll
right?
have 9 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Jeff Vexler, Vice President of Monterey Metal Recycling. Most of you are already aware of our company, but you may not be aware that I'm the de facto community liaison for our business. I have a direct line of communication with neighborhood presidents and vice presidents, and have been in contact with all of those in the neighborhoods surrounding Monterey over the last 18 months, multiple times. And it's important to us to keep a good faith conversation with the people surrounding us, and I feel like we've done that. Our neighbor is VFW Post 4700. Mike Molina is the commander there, and I'd like to invite Mike to share his thoughts.
Good morning, Mayor, Councils. Thank you for letting me speak to you this morning. My name is retired Sergeant First Class Mike Molina. I'm the commander of the VFW Post 4700, named after one of the San Antonio's most famous heroes' sons, William J. Bordelon. He's the very first Medal of Honor recipient in the state of Texas, and of course he graduated from Central Catholic High School. I'm also a direct descendant of Gregorio Esparza, who gave his life in the Battle of the Alamo. As you know, he fired the cannon and he fought against his own brother. I'm proud to be a part of those legacies today. My family has over 100 years of military service. My post was enacted 82 years ago in 1943. The only building or businesses in the 2219 Frio City Road area was right across the street from us, the Monterey Iron and Metal Recycling Company. I did some digging into our records and our database and have not come across any data or complaints in our minutes from our meetings going back for years and years. I've also been asked the customers and my current members of the post if they had any time difficulty breathing or dust or debris on the cars, any evidence of air problems after all the senior citizen Sunday dances, and up until today there has not been any complaints. We also have 3 baseball teams. The little kids practice. They're 20 kids 3 times a week. I've asked the coaches and parents who practice with the kids, haven't you had any problems with the kids and running outside for 4 hours a day with bad air? They said none. I believe facts matter. Since we are right across the street from the recycling company, we would be the first and foremost reliable people to recognize a problem, only there isn't one. The recycling company has been our best neighbor and made it clear that we address any problem that we may have immediately. They have donated to our concession stand, and they've donated a 10-ton military LAV that makes our members for the first time feel like we finally represent our post properly. Thank you.
Next is Alexander Sanders of All-Star Recycling.
Hello, I'm Alex of All-Star Recycling. I have over 10 years of safety experience. I'm a machine operator. I have OSHA certifications. I just want to let y'all know that I could tell you, coming from a different industry before recycling, I've never seen all of the regulations and everything that we have to go through. At Monterey and both at All-Star, we have binders and binders full of compliance material, both with the TCEQ, EPA, SAWS, Fire Code, just to name a few. Someone who comes from wearing all different types of hats at All-Star, especially the safety supervisor. I just want to tell you that going around looking at weed heights, small holes in fences, going around with pest control, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of monitoring. I could be monitoring pile heights, machine health, inspecting incoming loads, just to name a few things. There's a lot of stuff going on that we have to deal with in our industry. A lot of people, they think that we have a dirty job. It is dirty, but we do a lot. We clean up the city a lot. A lot of people come, they're bringing cans, metal off the streets that they're recycling. So it does help a lot. We are trying to help. Thank you.
My name is Curtis Moorhead, CHM Recycling. I'm here to speak on behalf of Monterey Iron and what they mean to me and the employees that I have, but also to many businesses, many people that's in the recycle business. Monterey is very important to this community. They've been in business for 50-plus years where they're at. They employ 80-plus employees. Not only that, but they employ all of us for us to feed our families. So this being a pioneer business and what they mean to this community is vitally important that you guys make the right decision on a pioneer business. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Hello, my name is Peter Kane with Polly Kane Associates. I'm the environmental consultant for Monterey Metal Recycling Solutions. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak about this business. This is not just a drop-off site for scrap metal. This is where responsibility meets action. Or Monterey is where old forgotten metal gets a second life, and in doing so, it helps build a cleaner, safer, and more sustainable future for the entire community. It provides a safe, legal, and effective way for homeowners, contractors, and businesses to recycle everything from appliances to construction. Now, let's address a common misconception: appearance. Too often, these facilities are judged by how they look. Yes, they handle heavy, used, and bulky materials. Yes, they can appear rough around the edges. But let's be absolutely clear. Gritty does not mean illegal, and messy does not mean non-compliant. Monterey is fully permitted and operates in full compliance with environmental, safety, and operational requirements. The company works directly with the city, state, and federal agencies to ensure full compliance and accountability. This is proven through regular and frequently documented cooperation with oversight agencies. Monterey Metal Recycling Solutions is not a part of the problem. It is part of the solution. The company follows the rules, does the hard work, and plays a key role in supporting both the environment and the economy. Now is the time to stand behind the business doing the right thing. Let's work with them, not against them. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Just to wrap that up, if I may, Mayor, and I will cut it short because I realize we have a busy day. Keep in mind that every minute that we're micromanaging things like weed heights is a minute that's not spent inspecting loads, which might be the more important factor. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vexler. Next, we have Cristina Ramirez. Cristina Ramirez. And lastly, I'm sorry, Deborah Ponce. Ms. Ponce, you'll be followed by Cheyenne Regnion.
Thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Do you have anybody else you're speaking as a group?
Well, as our community that's been uplifting this issue.
Could you identify yourselves and I'll make sure you're marked off the list?
I just put my name down, Deborah Ponce. That's how I signed up.
Okay, no one
online.
else has signed up then. Okay.
This is Tricia and this is
Okay.
Yvette.
Go ahead, Deborah.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Ponce. I'm a community member and a climate justice organizer for Public Citizen. First thing first is we're not against recyclers and we're not attempting to shut anybody down. We need the jobs, we need the recyclers. Let's remember why we're here. In 2023, a series of fires broke out at a metal recycling facility in San Antonio. Fires that released toxic smoke into neighborhoods with no warning, no evacuations, and little accountability. Neighborhoods suffered for 10 hours on one fire. In response, City Council asked for clear, enforceable reforms to prevent this from happening again. The goal was public health and environmental justice, not industry convenience. The task force made some progress. We now have clearer definitions for hazardous materials, including automotive shredder residue or fluff. We're recommending stricter pile heights, fire prevention plans, fencing requirements, and zoning rules to stop new clusters of polluting businesses. These are all good steps. But I'm here to ask you to remove one dangerous exception, the allowance for existing recycling businesses to expand their original operational footprint on non-conforming properties. Let me be clear, this is not a small ask or a small tweak. This is an actual loophole that's been added to this CCR. It would allow existing facilities, many located in residential and flood-prone areas, to spread their pollution further into our neighborhoods. And once you open that door, other polluting industries will follow, lawyers in hand. We've heard this is being framed as a compromise, but there was no consensus, no community agreement on expansion. In fact, some community members couldn't attend meetings because they were held during working hours. The city says that 1,000-foot buffer between new facilities is a win for residents, but that's not a real trade-off for us. 1,000 feet is about 3 city blocks. It won't stop new facilities from operating in the same neighborhoods, and how many new ones are even really trying to open? The bigger threat is expansion of those already operating. This isn't about stopping all development. We are not opposing repairs or safety upgrades, but we are asking for no expansion on operations on land that zoning rules already say is inappropriate. Clearer language is needed here. The community safety should not be negotiable. Our health, our families, our children, our neighborhoods are not negotiable. Please vote to remove this exception and then vote to pass the ordinance the way it is. Let's right this wrong and let's not trade away community for safety in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ponce. Cheyenne Regnion. Ms. Regnon, excuse me. You'll be followed by Larry Garcia.
Thank you. Good morning, City Council, and good morning, Mayor. My name is Cheyenne Rendon, and I was an appointee in District 5 for the Task Force tackling MRE and AUPRs. First, I'd like to start off by thanking you for giving us this opportunity to have this important conversation, but also having an opportunity for the community members to actually participate and actively have an involvement with recommendations from community members to propose to the council for the safeguards around this proposed regulation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. These recommendations reflect months of hard work and real compromise, some that we weren't really happy with, but others that were major milestones. And the inclusion of language around fluff and shredded residue is a great resemblance of that. Materials such that the AP has recognized for over 30 years. And the fact that San Antonio is now codifying this shows how critical it is to regularly update MRE AUPR standards to protect our communities, but to also lead with foresight. I'm urging you to adopt these recommendations, not just for D4 and D5, where the impact is the greatest, but for the future of our entire city. I'm going to shift a little bit and really address the districts that don't have these industry representatives. So stay with me. I know it's a lot happening right here, but stay with me. Right now, District 4 and 5 house 76% of MRE UAPR facilities in San Antonio. That's a heavy burden, but that's one that we've carried with pride and responsibility. For these facilities, they will eventually need to expand. We need to accommodate the growth of our city, and everyone wants to be a proud Texan, everyone wants to be a proud San Antonian. So we're going to have an increase in population, which in return, hopefully will have an increase in recycling. It's needed, it's essential, especially to accommodate the growth of our city. Well, eventually that expansion will reach your district. Eventually there will be space run out of District 4 and 5 where 76% will not be able to operate just for these two districts to service all of City of San Antonio, 76%. So I ask you to consider this. If your district were asked to carry this burden, wouldn't you expect strong safeguards and a seat at the table? Wouldn't your residents want their voices heard? The recommendations before you are those voices who've already lived, who are currently living in those experiences next to these facilities. And they may not come from your district, but they are your neighbors. They are San Antonians. We all are San Antonians. And that means it affects all of us. Please do not leave this work unfinished. Vote to adopt these recommendations. And if you're feeling ambitious, support future CCRs. Support the CCRs that strengthen this industry with fairness, transparency, and foresight. Let's stand together as proud San Antonians. Let's guide our city with the values of our city: teamwork, integrity, and innovation to build a more equitable, sustainable future for every district and family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Regnon. Larry Garcia. I'm told I missed Manny Morales. Was he part of your group, Jeff? Yes. He was, okay. 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 Larry Garcia is not here. Manuel Alonso.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Mi nombre es Marco Alonso.
My name is Marco Alonso.
Entre paréntesis, Manuel is about my father.
In parentheses, my name is Manuel Asabe.
Okay. Soy ingeniero de proyectos en la compañía Monterrey Metal Recycling Solution. Esta es una compañía familiar que ha estado en el mercado por más de 100 años. Siempre ha cuidado nuestro planeta y ayudado a los empleados. Y como ejemplo puedo mencionar los siguientes.
I'm an engineer with the construction projects at Monterrey Metal Recycling Solutions. This is a family company which was founded over 100 years ago. They've always taken good care of their employees. And as an example, I can mention the following.
1. Ayudan con el asesoramiento bancario a través del banco Credit Human. La empresa se pone en contacto con el banco para que nos ayuden a abrir una cuenta bancaria, nos informe cómo podemos ahorrar e incluso cómo podemos invertir nuestro dinero.
They help us with the bank Credit Humane. They give us advice, banking advice, so that we can open our banking account. The company gets in touch with the bank directly, and they help us with our banking needs. They help us opening our accounts, savings accounts, and even investments of our money.
2. ¿Encuentran cómo obtener una mejor cobertura de salud?
They always try to get the best healthcare coverage for us.
3. ¿Emplean a personas con conflictos legales con libertad condicional?
3. They hire people who have legal issues with paroles.
5. ¿Cuidan el medio ambiente?
5. They take good care of the environment.
6. ¿Tecnológicamente han crecido mucho?
6. In regards with technology, they've grown a lot.
7. ¿Se están coordinando con la ciudad para prevenir incendios o accidentes?
7. They work along with the city so that they can, with the prevention of fires and accidents.
Estos son algunos ejemplos de acciones que hacen que sigamos trabajando a gusto en esta empresa, sin mencionar que estamos trabajando todo el año a pesar de las caídas del mercado, sin ningún descuento, además de recibir bonificaciones por hacer bien nuestro trabajo.
These are some examples of actions which have encouraged us to keep on working happily at this company. Not to mention the fact that we've been working all year long in spite of the ups and downs of the market without any deductions of our salaries, and we even get a bonus for good performance.
Por lo anterior, puedo decir que Monterrey Metal Recycling Solution es una empresa que no solo cuida sus intereses, sino también los de la tierra y los de sus empleados.
For all the above mentioned, I can say that Monterrey Metal Recycling Solutions is a company which takes good care of its interests, but not only that, but also the environment and its employees.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alonso. All right, that is everyone who signed up to speak on items that remain on consent. We'll open it up now for council discussion. Councilmember Courage.
No, Mayor, I just wanted to add item 14 for consideration. I'm sorry.
Okay. If there's no objection, I'm going to pull item 14 for individual consideration. Okay, so the following items will be heard individually. Item 4, item 16, and now item 14 as well. Okay, Councilmember Villagran.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to highlight item 9, approving the appointment of Kathy Wren Torres to the Disability Accessory Advisory Committee for a term of office commencing June 1st, 2025 and expiring May 31st, 2027. We've had some great residents step up and serve on this community. I'm looking forward to her service. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Villagran. I don't have a queue for consent, so Councilmember Rocha Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm highlighting ordinance number 5, which is an ordinance approving a funding agreement between the City of San Antonio and the Kelly Heritage Learning Center Journey of Flight, Inc. And that's in the amount of $500,000 for design services for the Airman Heritage Museum and Aerospace Learning Center to express appreciation for a project that has been several years in the making now. Thank you to the Public Works team for your due diligence in ensuring we finalize this funding agreement in the most effective way. I also want to thank the Journey of Flight leadership for your patience and understanding to get this right. And of course, Mayor Nierenberg, who, when I brought this up a few years ago, was the first one to sign up, and to all of my colleagues today. In Military City USA, we have service members and veterans and their families who have helped shape our city and a significant part of our nation's history. Because Joint Base San Antonio Lackland is in District 4, it was important for me to support a group that is committed to honoring and preserving the legacy of aviation and aerospace in San Antonio. Journey of Flight, formerly known as the Kelly Heritage Learning Center, is a nonprofit dedicated to showcasing the city's rich history in aviation and its crucial role in training and supporting the brave servicewomen and men who defend our freedom. Part of the organization's mission is to create an Airman Heritage Museum that will serve as a vibrant hub for them. We are excited to be a part of your mission, a part of the mission to create an Airman Heritage Museum to honor the airmen, guardians, and their families and visitors from across the world to learn and celebrate the diverse and vital roles of airmen and guardians and its connection to San Antonio's history. The Aerospace Learning Center will be a state-of-the-art, aviation-based STEM learning center that will inspire people for all ages. It will ignite the imaginations and cultivate the next generation of aerospace innovators and encourage our youth to explore careers in aviation and aerospace. Both centers will be interactive and education, celebrating the remarkable individuals who have made history in San Antonio and across the globe. Thank you all so much for this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Rocha Garcia. Councilmember Castillo.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to highlight item number 8 and thank all the individuals who gave public comment, as well as to the community members who participated in this task force, which was a series of over 8 months of meetings. And during the PCDC public comment, one of the participants mentioned that that was roughly 49 hours of work, right, of folks donating their time to ensure that not just District 5, but City of San Antonio residents, their health is protected, and ensuring that we move forward with these proposals today. I would like to name a couple of the task force members who participated, such as Cheyenne, Al, Frank, and Julian, and also to the D5 businesses who are also represented and gave public comment today, such as the Vexlers and Christina Ramirez, for participating from the industry side to have this very robust conversation and debate. Ultimately, what we have before us today ensures that there's faster requirements and timelines for violation response, changing, as someone mentioned, their public comment, which is currently 10 to 30 days to a 2-day notice to correct an issue when a violation is noticed. What we're voting on today will also add the ability for the city to use civil tickets in addition to criminal tickets for violations. It clarifies that a certificate of occupancy can be revoked if operating without a license. It further modifies to suspend or revoke a license if 3+ violations are accepted by a municipal court with a rolling 12-month period, right? And currently that period is 18 months. So there's a lot of work here that we've done with community, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the development services team for ensuring that the conversations move along and working towards what we have before us today to take action. I'm extremely grateful for Rick Galvan on my team, who also staffed this meeting, and Derek Tulwinsi, who were present at every community meeting, ensuring that I was kept up to speed on the debate and discussion taking place. Ultimately, right, there's plenty of more work to do, and that's why I'm grateful on what we're voting today also ensures that we're revisiting this UDC code within every 5 years, similar to other UDC practice. So that's something that we had not updated, but there's plenty of more work to do. We know this industry is changing, and there's opportunity for us to get ahead of a lot of the concern, but I'm grateful for the definitions that were defined within this process and so much more, but there's plenty more work ahead. And I just want to highlight, ensuring that we're addressing the concern with grass is pivotal to ensuring that we're keeping the residents who reside around these facilities safe. We know Texas is very hot, San Antonio's hot, we're about to experience 100+ degree weather, and ensuring that grass is maintained ensures that a fire doesn't spread and hit our residential homes. So I don't want to minimize that impact and minimize the role of our first responders who have responded to fires to keep nearby residents safe, and ultimately the employees of this industry safe as well. So a lot of folks to thank, plenty more work to do, but this is something that community worked very hard for to ensure that we're protecting, as Cheyenne stated, right, not just D4 and 5 residents, but this is a big industry and we're going to grow, and we need to get ahead of anything before there's another incident. But I'm looking forward to supporting this item. Glad it's on consent. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Castillo. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, there is a motion and a second for approval of all items save for 4, 14, and 16. Please vote. Motion carries. All right, before we get to our individual items, if you are filtering out, if you could do so quietly, we're going to recognize some very important people in our community, and there's a series of these, but we have some of the most inspired in terms of the teams that serve San Antonio as our San Antonio Police Department. And the number of them, as you see, are in uniform, which means they are ready to get back out on the street. So I'm going to call them up first as we recognize San Antonio Police Officer Memorial Day. So, Chief, if you and your team could come forward as I read the following proclamation. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which that date falls as National Police Week. And whereas since then, every year during National Police Week in Washington, D.C., our nation comes together to honor law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Thousands of law enforcement officers are joined by 25 to 40,000 attendees, including survivors, families, and loved ones of fallen heroes, to participate in a week of special events dedicated to remembering their sacrifice. And whereas each and every day police officers put themselves in harm's way, risking their lives in the most dangerous situations, when even a routine call can rapidly escalate in the blink of an eye to a life or death situation, putting both officers and innocent civilians, including children, at risk. Our police officers protect and serve us and uphold and enforce the laws and freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Without their unwavering commitment to duty and their communities they serve and protect, our personal safety and the many freedoms and rights we cherish could be circumvented by persons intending on harming society. And whereas it is crucial to understand the many challenges, responsibilities, and duties that our police officers and police department face, it is essential and incumbent upon every one of us to support our police officers and to collaborate with them in order to keep our communities safe and maintain law and order. And whereas the San Antonio Police Department will host its annual Police Officers Memorial Day ceremony on May 23, 2025, at the San Antonio Police Department Training Academy to honor the 62 members of the San Antonio Police Department who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives in the performance of their duty. Therefore, I, Ron Nirenberg, Mayor of the City of San Antonio, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim May 15, 2025 to be San Antonio Police Officers Memorial Day, and the week of May 11 through 17, 2025 to be National Police Week in San Antonio, Texas, and extend profound appreciation to the San Antonio Police Department for their unwavering dedication to the security and welfare of their city. Thank you very much for being here, y'all.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, thank you.
Always a man of few words, Chief. You got the whole floor. Please tell us what's on your heart.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. I'm good. All right, let me you know, the numbers that we lose continue to grow too often. And the memorial service that we have on Friday, next Friday, you've been there. Very, very sad event. Necessary, unfortunately. The folks who survived their loved ones being killed in the line of duty, they've shown up for years and years and years, and you see them falling off because they start getting too old to come, or they themselves die. It's a sad event, but a necessary one that we have for our officers. So thank you very much for the proclamation.
Thank you, Chief. And let me just say, while we have the attention of the room, and they've heard me say it before, I'm very proud to serve the city of San Antonio. But let me just tell you what a distinct honor it has been to represent the city of San Antonio with a police chief like you and a department like yours representing and keeping our community safe. It has been a true honor. You make us proud every single day, Chief. Thank you very much for all that you guys do.
Thank you, Council. Thank you.
McManus has never won for ceremony, but there you have it, folks. All right. Now, if I'm going to call a little bit of an audible here, if you don't mind, and that is we also have several students with us today, and they need to get back to class. So if we can bring our students who are here as South Texas ACE race winners come to the front. I'm going to turn the floor just in a minute to Councilmember Villagran, current Councilmember Villagran, as she welcomes her sister, former Councilmember Villagran from the South Texas Business Partnership. But these are the kids who have shown their STEM skills and created vehicles that have won an incredible race that's been going on for several years in our community. And I've told them already, this is the most impressive trophy you will ever see in City Council chambers, and it's well-deserved. Councilmember Villagran.
Thank you, Mayor. Today we invited the winners of the 7th Annual Alamo City Electrathon, also known as ACE Race. I normally do this, students, so if you could just come up and share your names, because we want to know who's all here. So just come up to the mic and say your name. And this is your city council, so.
Jason Fox. Oh, junior. I'm Dylan Ellington. I'm a senior.
Alan Flores Guevara, junior.
Carlos Padilla, junior.
Neve Rivera, junior.
Federico Del Rio, junior.
My name is Belinda Rivera, and I'm a senior.
My name is Joe Ramirez. I'm a junior.
Ryan Hernandez, junior.
Ben Barrera, I'm a sophomore.
Jose Ochoa, senior.
Joel Maldonado, Jr.
Pablo Flores, junior.
My name is Caitlin Kneiper, and I'm a junior. My name is Holly Helmke, and I'm a senior.
So 48 teams, I believe, from San Antonio, South Texas, Kansas, Mexico, and regional charter schools competed in this race, the largest and most competitive race in history at the San Antonio Police Academy on the track. So there we are, they're out there, there's the car, number 263, and these are the students that did the incredible job. Innovation, just enthusiasm, and they won overall. So I'm gonna let Rebecca come up to the mic and Forrest come up to the mic and share a little about this incredible event and how we look forward to hosting it there next year.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you, Mayor and council members. We're very excited. This is the first time we've done this. These are our this is the 7th annual Alamo City Electrathon, and it started in 2017. We brought it to San Antonio, and what this is, it is a 60, these students design, build, and drive these electric vehicles, culminating in 2 60-minute endurance heats. It started in 2017 with 6 local high schools, and now we have grown to over 250 students from across the United States, and for the first time this year in Mexico City. We could not have done this without our partners. First and foremost, from the beginning, our presenting sponsors, Toyota Texas, and then International came in and started helping. You also see the Santana Group is here as well as Adrian Lopez, the President and CEO of Workforce Solutions Alamo. Just so you all know, he doubles as a phenomenal MC at events. So please, we just appreciate them, as well as CPS Energy and SAPOA and Blue Cares also donated. But this was truly a community event. And on behalf of the SOTEX Foundation board members and our chairwoman, Jessica Loudermilk, we're so proud that this success happened, and we congratulate these students who have been champions for undefeated practically. But I'm gonna let their teacher, Mr. Forrest Hawthorne, come and share. But this also would not have started without the great vision and inspiration of Mr. Bob Franz, who's no longer with us. He worked at Southwest ISD, but he brought this from California to San Antonio. So with that, Forrest.
Good morning, how y'all doing? If you didn't know, Alamo City Electrathon, or Electrathon racing in general, is just it's an amazing opportunity for these kids. Like they said, we started in 2017. We only had 6 or 7 schools across the south side. We've blown it up. This year we have an actual race series. We have 4 local races at the schools. We had the ACE Championship race that we hosted at the SAPD Academy. Thank you all so much to the San Antonio Police Academy for making that happen. It was the best, the largest, and the safest track we've had the opportunity of racing in all of our years of racing. And that includes traveling abroad. It really was it was perfect. And the San Antonio Police officers, as well as the cadets, I mean, it was a game changer for us. It was amazing. It was so cool to have, normally it's my job to set up all the volunteers, to run flags, and to kind of help run the actual event. And here I had cadets who already had radios. They were already good to go. They were already uniformed. They already get how the whole thing works. So it was really cool just to have that, so thank you for that. But just in general, we appreciate your support for this whole program. There is nothing like seeing one of these races happen where you see these kids come together and they struggle. Stuff breaks. Cars break down. They blow tires. They break axles. And you see them get back in the pit, and they got to put their heads together, and they got to figure out, how do we make this thing work and get back out there? And that's the kind of values, that's the kind of skills we want to see our kids learn. And when you come out to one of these races, you really see it happen. It is literally where the rubber meets the road as far as educating our students for the modern day. Whether they're going to be going straight into college, whether they're going to be going into industry, whether they're going to be going to start their own business or be entrepreneurs, they learn all these skills, not just driving the car, but also building the car, maintaining the car. We have students that run our Instagram account, and constantly, they'll be posting about it today, making sure that people in our community know about the event. So it really is a 360-degree view of a student we're trying to build and we're trying to give these kids skills for. So thank you for having us. We appreciate you.
Also would be remiss if I didn't recognize also the SOTEX Foundation staff member Cecily Montañez and all of our volunteers, and also Hopper right over here. He can't hide, but he is also there in the pit with all of the students. And I know Superintendent Toscano is here, very, very proud. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. I wanted the council members to see all the decisions we make up here regarding STEM, regarding climate action change, regarding our youth. This is a result of your work here and your decisions here and your committee work. So thank you so much for being here, for being the example and the witness to the rest of the school districts too, because I know there's a target on y'all's back for next year at that race. So keep up the good work. A lot of juniors, seniors, congratulations. Thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Councilmember Villagrán. Councilmember Rocha Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say again, congratulations. And Councilwoman, thank you so much for bringing up Bob Franz. And so he was very special. I was able to work along his side when I was at Southwest ISD. I was actually an advisor to the Southwest engineering team. A lot of people don't know this, but I have like a passion for engineering and aerospace since I was in middle school. It's just kind of like that hidden thing. And so I was able to travel with the Southwest team to the Shell Eco Marathon. And that is like a life goal, like to bring the Shell Eco Marathon to San Antonio. Like, what an incredible opportunity that would be for our students. So, and we're like, how do we make it happen? This is game changing for our students. One of the first things that I did when I got on council is I asked Eric Walsh if we can have this race at the Alamo Dome. And we worked together, and it was going to happen. The kids were going to be on the Jumbotron. We were super excited. Then COVID happened. And so, it was just this enthusiasm that we see with the kids. And I was so excited when I found out that it was at the academy. And so to get there and to see all of the cadets participate, to see that the kids were on a racetrack that was by the PD. And also, I heard a lot of the kids say, this is so cool, and they had an interest now in SAPD because of that. And so I was like, this is a great recruiting strategy for SAPD as well. So congratulations. I know Toyota has been heavily involved. Their team from Mexico that came down to prep the students and to serve as advisors to them as well. By the way, they had the coolest outfits. Like, everybody should have one of those that they had. But I also want to thank them just for being so involved and all of the organizations that help make this possible. But congratulations to you all. You all have a bright future ahead. Congratulations to the seniors. I know you all are going to miss it, but come back and help next year, right? So if you're here, if you're in school here in San Antonio, you all can always be volunteers for this. So congratulations to the winners, and congratulations to Dr. Toscano, who does a great job at East Central. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Villagran. Thank you all very much. Congratulations. Now get back to work. Thank you all. Congratulations. All right, another group that's got to get back to class is our superintendents and all of our ISDs here in San Antonio. So let me welcome them up as I read the following proclamation. Whereas Article 7 of the State of Texas Constitution, Education, states that it shall be the duty of legislature to establish and make suitable provision to the support and maintenance of the efficient system of public free schools. The Texas Constitution also states that all children in the state of Texas have the right to a quality public education. And whereas the City of San Antonio, together with the San Antonio Area Public School Education Foundations, administrators, educators, faculty, and staff are united in our efforts to delivering exceptional public education opportunities for every child, recognize that the future of our city, our state, and our nation depends on providing and delivering a high-quality educational experience to all students. And whereas the San Antonio Area Public School Foundations work closely with parents, educators, government agencies, and local stakeholders and community leaders to develop and enact impactful support and events that promote inclusion, equity, and diversity in our public schools. And whereas our local public school foundations proudly collaborate with school leaders and teachers across the greater Bexar County region to share effective strategies, cutting-edge programs, and community-focused efforts to meaningfully improve the lives of our students, educational institutions, and neighborhoods. And whereas the City of San Antonio commends the dedicated efforts of San Antonio Area Public Schools for their steadfast commitment to shaping our next generation, going above and beyond to ensure that all students have access to nutritious meals, learning resources, internet access, activities filled with enrichment and engagement, health and mental wellness support, and a safe and secure and thriving learning environment with tools for success as they embark on a fresh chapter in the journey of lifelong learning. Now, therefore, I, Ron Nirenberg, Mayor of the City of San Antonio, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim May 15th, 2025 to be San Antonio Area Public Schools Education Foundation Day in San Antonio, Texas. Best wishes for a successful new school year. Thank you all for everything that you do for our state of Texas.
Thank
And
you.
Sylvia, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mayor and City Council, for this opportunity. My name is Sylvia Rincon, and I'm representing the San Antonio Area Education Foundations, along with the school districts. And it's usually around this time when we hand it over to our great superintendents or our public school trustees and board directors. But at this moment right now, we want to actually take a moment to raise them up and say thank you so much for all of their hard work. That's what public school education foundations do, is we're here to support the work that they're doing in the boardrooms, in the classrooms, and recognizing the work of the teachers, the bus drivers that you mentioned, maintenance, and also the police department who keep our schools safe. Our public school education foundations are here to not just raise money, but to make sure that the workforce for the future is funded and supported and that we're invested in it. And we can't do that alone without the support of our community and the City of San Antonio. So we're extremely grateful for this opportunity, and we thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Councilmember Courage.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you all go, let me just add, if I may, my personal congratulations and acknowledgement for the hard work that you and everybody who is involved in public education does. Many of you may know I was a teacher for 25 years in the city. I know what it's like to be in the classroom. I know what it's like to see those faces of children learning, sometimes frustrated. I know what it's like to work with other teachers and administrators and trustees to try and provide the best public education we can in this city. And I know it's a challenge right now. So thank you all for your commitment to the children and the community and to the teachers and all of the staff members and all of the schools that you're associated with. Your work can never really be appreciated, but you know, it's something that we know you all are committed to. So thank you very, very much for being here today.
Member Courage, Councilmember Villagran.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for working together as public schools. In District 3, and I'm sure my council colleagues can count too, I have 4 public school districts. And I love them all, and they all have their own personalities and quirks and different buildings that they have, old buildings. That they're working out of and trying to figure different bonds. And it is just amazing how we need to work together and how we need to continue to tell the mission that our public school children need to be funded, that they need to be looked after, and this is the best way to do it. So I'm so glad you guys were here when we got to celebrate East Central. I know we've had other school districts come in and other groups come in, and even I go out to Northeast and North Side, and I hear from them also, even though they're not in my district, just the importance of making sure that we're all working together and communicating. So thank you all for working together. I know it's the middle of May, and I can't even imagine where the rest of the superintendents are, but thank you for being here, Superintendent, and for all of those that were here earlier, and continue the good work, and the boards and the trustees that do this for all that great money. No, there's no. Thank you for serving, and thank you for caring about our community, and together we're going to move San Antonio forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Viagran. Councilmember Kaur.
Thank you, Mayor. It's so exciting to have you guys here. You all are truly the real superheroes, and your work as we go into this next year is only going to get tougher. And that's why the foundations, particularly the leaders here from the foundations, the work that you all do is so incredibly important in providing wraparound services for our students that truly need it, and our teachers, really motivating them to continue to work hard. And so I want to thank you all. Thank you to the board leaders that are here, because you know that is a very tough job that you all are taking on. But what I just wanted to share is that you have a mayor and council, and will continue to have one, that recognizes that addressing the challenges you all face in your schools is not your responsibility alone, and that we want to walk with you side by side to really address how can we fix the challenges that we have built for ourselves in our communities, and that you all cannot solely be responsible for addressing all of poverty challenges that you have been tasked to do. So I want you to know that we are committed to doing that, and committed to building a future San Antonio that's revolving around our kids, and excellence, for an opportunity for all of our students, regardless of which zip code or where they're being served by you all. So thank you all for your work. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaur. Councilmember Castillo.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to add on to the thanks and gratitude, District 5 has 5 independent school districts plus a couple of private and charter schools, and we know that the work that you all and your school boards conduct is ensuring that we have a better future for San Antonio's youth. So I'm extremely grateful for you all being the shepherd of our future, and it takes a village. And as folks have mentioned, right, we're here to work collaboratively to ensure that our students receive the services that they and their families deserve. But I would be remiss, right? I'm a proud product of SCISD, worked for SCISD for roughly 6 years prior to running for office, and I just want to thank Dr. Aquino and his school board for just all that they continue to do. And thank you for leading with compassion and care, and just always being everywhere in community. And it's just, we just really appreciate you, Dr. Aquino, and your team. So just thank y'all so much for that, all y'all continue to do. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Castillo. Councilmember Alderete Gavito.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I also just wanted to extend my gratitude for all the work that you all do in the various positions that you all have. I mean, y'all's work is literally shaping the future of San Antonio. I echo a lot of the comments that Councilman Courage said. You know, I know it's hard, the days are tough. We're all at the end of the school year. We're exhausted, but every single day y'all wake up and help shape the future of our city. So we can't thank you enough. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Alderete Gavito. Thank you all for what you do for the future of our city, but also, most importantly, the future of our state and our country. I don't think your work gets recognized enough. It gets treated as a political football just about everywhere, but we understand the importance of what you do as parents and as civic leaders. So thank you, and we'll have your back at all times. Thank you. All right. We do have our leadership also from the Salvation Army here, so let me call them up as I read the following proclamation. Whereas the National Salvation Army Week was first declared by President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1954 in recognition of the Salvation Army's nearly 75 years of faithful service across America since it first established its American roots in Philadelphia in 1878. And whereas National Salvation Army Week takes place from May 12th to 18th, 2025, not just in the United States, but all over the globe. Today, the Salvation Army is at work in 132 countries around the world, and just in the United States in 2020, the organization provided more than 155 million meals, 1.6 million nights of shelter, 6.6 million food boxes, and emotional and spiritual care to more than 857,000 people. And whereas the Salvation Army, with its motto, doing the most good, and through the support of generous donors, dedicated volunteers, and community advocates, serves its mission responding on the front lines of disasters around the globe, providing compassionate and humanitarian relief and life-changing aid in times of great difficulties. And whereas with more than 7,500 centers of operation in the United States, the Salvation Army is uniquely positioned to meet the needs of those afflicted by hunger, destitution, disease, addiction, and spiritual needs wherever it exists, motivated by the love of God without discrimination. The organization has become part of the American story, showing up in crises, caring for those experiencing hardship, and walking with families through their everyday struggles. And whereas for nearly 160 years, the National Salvation Army continues in action in virtually every corner of our country and the world as one of the very few organizations that works on the grassroots level to reach people from all strata of society. During National Salvation Army Week, we honor the Christian army of selfless volunteers, donors, and program beneficiaries, all who embody the message of God's healing and hope to all in need. Now, therefore, I, Ron Nirenberg, Mayor of the City of San Antonio, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim the week of May 12th through the 18th, 2025, to be National Salvation Army Week in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you all very much for all that you do for our community.
Mayor Nirenberg, members of the council, and distinguished guests, it is our pleasure to be here with you today, and we are honored to receive this proclamation from the City of San Antonio. As the mayor mentioned, National Salvation Army Week was first declared in 1954 by President Eisenhower, and this week has been set aside to recognize the Salvation Army's faithful service across our country. The Salvation Army has served San Antonio for 136 years. And as we celebrate our past, we also celebrate the fact that we have a touch on the future. We provide hope and help in many ways, such as introducing children to career paths they never imagined, from providing emergency shelter and transitional housing for men, women, and families, to providing after-school care for underprivileged children. We help seniors combat loneliness and food insecurity, and we are ready to offer comfort and assistance in the event of disaster. We have had the privilege of serving alongside many of you here, and for those of you that we haven't had a chance to serve alongside, we always invite you to our facilities for a tour and for volunteer opportunities. We have them year-round. We are deeply grateful for your partnership, and you are a part of the hope that we are able to give to individuals in this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much for what you do. Brad, did you?
I want to add one more thing. So our staff and our volunteers, we're going to have our mobile feeding units set up just outside in front of the cathedral. We're going to be there from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. today. We're going to be passing out bottled water, cold Gatorades, and some snacks. And the best part about it is they're free. So please, we welcome all of you to come and stop by.
Thank you so much. Do you have a few comments from Councilmember Rocha Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say congratulations, and so honored to be able to work along your side for so many years. I've had the privilege of participating in the Red Kettle campaign, and so this year I was able to complete the 12 hours, and so I was able to help bring that spirit of San Antonio across the city. So thank you all for continuing to do that, but also for the shoe-in. And I know that the kids get so excited when they see the shoes and they're able to go and pick out their own shoe, and then you have volunteers that come and try them on. And so I just wanted to say thank you for being a part of that. And then I don't think that we could say enough about your food pantry as well, and the way that you all help families that are just in need of everyday supplies. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you do, and looking forward to celebrating Salvation Army Week for years to come. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Rocha Garcia. Councilmember Kaur.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank you all for your work and say that I'm honored to represent the center that's here right across the street in District 1, and wanted to recognize you for what you do for our unhoused population, particularly our women and females, and children. So thank you so much for that work. We really need it.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaur. And thank you very much for what you do that so often goes unseen in these disasters. We really rely on you, and I don't think enough people know how much. So thank you for what you do for lifting up our community. Thank you. Thank you all very much. All right. Lastly, let me have the folks from our bicycle advocacy communities come on up, including Activate SA and so many others. Whereas during the month of May 2025, the Alamo Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, along with Activate SA and so many other organizations, will observe National Bike Month to promote efficient and desirable forms of transportation and exercise and recreation. And whereas today millions of Americans engage in bicycling and walking as an environmentally sound form of transportation, regular fitness, and quality family time activity, and whereas cycling, walking, and wheeling are healthier alternatives that can help reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality, and whereas citizens are encouraged to bike, bus, walk, or wheel over to Main Plaza for the Bike, Walk, and Roll Rally and celebrate active and healthy transportation. So now, therefore, I, Ron Nirenberg, Mayor of the City of San Antonio, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim May 2025 to be National Bike Month in San Antonio, Texas, and welcome you all. Thank you so much for your patience, not just for waiting through today, but for the many years before we actually got a bicycle plan. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Nirenberg and San Antonio City Council. My name again is Joey Pavlik, Executive Director of Activate SA. And first and foremost, again, happy Bike Month. We really appreciate all the work you are doing to make our city more bikeable. This year, we are celebrating much more for Bike Month, especially with the adoption of the city's new Bike Network Plan, Vision Zero Action Plan, TOD Policy Framework, and the Complete Streets Policy. And definitely want to give a shout out to Kat and the transportation team for leading those efforts. And of course, also want to acknowledge things like our ever-expanding Greenway Trail system and the new Multimodal Transportation Commission. As you all know, too, this is a big time to celebrate, but also we want to acknowledge those who can't be here with us this year, or at this time. Between 2020 and 2024, 18 cyclists were killed and another 107 were seriously injured. This year alone, 3 cyclists were killed on our roadways. This definitely, we want to acknowledge the work that we have to do, make sure that our city is truly bikeable for people of all ages and abilities, to help make sure that our fellow San Antonians, friends, family, and neighbors and coworkers are coming home to their families and lives, or make sure their lives are not drastically altered by coming home seriously injured as well. These plans and policies have cemented great visions for our city. Now we're calling on you and incoming council members to make these visions a reality. My hope is that in future Bike Months, we will be celebrating significant milestones from these plans and policies, from implementing these efforts, and make sure that, again, we have a truly bikeable city that is safe, comfortable, and accessible for people of all ages and abilities. I'd also like to call up real quick a member from Gisela Cycling Initiative and the Alamo Area NPO to say a quick word.
Good morning. My name is Sylvia Kuamura, and I've been riding a bike since I can remember. So this is something that is very near and dear to me also. I've been riding with the Golden Rollers for the past 3 years. The Golden Rollers is a senior bike group that we came and rode here this morning. We enjoy biking through the various areas of our beautiful city. San Antonio has beautiful trails, which we use. We ride through Brackenridge Park every Friday, through the neighborhoods by the Botanical Gardens, down the beautiful trails by the San Antonio River, and even throughout the downtown areas. It is important to note, however, the importance of bike safety on our streets. We need dedicated bike lanes, route signage, and especially motorist education to watch for cyclists. Just 2 weeks ago, a young adult on his bike was involved in a hit-and-run accident. He's currently still in the hospital. and even had his bike stolen after the accident. We have a beautiful community in which all cyclists should be able to enjoy safely. We enjoy our weekly rides, but in order to be able to ride, attention must be given to ensure the safety of our cyclists. Tomorrow is Bike to Work Week, or Bike to Work Day, so please, we just ask that you watch out for our cyclists. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. My name is Matthew Moreno. I'm the Regional Transportation Planner at the Alamo Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, a regional transportation agency that oversees Bexar, Comal, Guadalupe, and soon the entirety of Kendall and the eastern portion of Medina County, so the entire region. We are truly honored that the City of San Antonio is making this proclamation for Bike Month, as well as Bike to Work Day. Tomorrow morning from 7 to 9 a.m. There will be 13 Energizer stations, 12 of which are in San Antonio, 1 in Seguin. So we highly encourage all of y'all, if you can't bike to work, find a short trip that you could replace your vehicle with a bike as well. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, 52% of all trips in the U.S. are 3 miles or less. That's about a 15-minute bike ride. So the first thing we always hear is, my work is too far, I can't bike that. There are so many other trips that we take in our daily lives that we highly encourage everyone to consider replacing with that cycling trip. First-hand experience is the best way to learn more about how we can improve our city. I do want to personally thank all of the City Council and Mayor as well for the work, and the San Antonio Transportation Department as well for all of the different cycling, transportation safety, and network and transit plans that have been going through over the past few years. There has been great work done, so thank you.
Thank you very much, and great teamwork to all of you as you stay united towards the cause that we have all been waiting on for so long. Let me turn it over now to Councilmember Pelaez.
So I'm a cyclist. I don't do road bike cycling. I do a lot of mountain biking, just like Jeff Coyle does. And I want to call him out and let you all know that you have a champion for cycling in the city of San Antonio. He's made this one of his most important priorities, and if you guys have anybody to thank for making sure that none of us up here forget how important cycling it is, that's Jeff Coyle. Additionally, it's really important to point out that the city of San Antonio is all in, right? Joey and Will and the rest of you, you guys are outside the city hall, the four walls of the city hall, but I want to reassure you, our transportation department here, Metro Health, they are very dedicated to making sure that San Antonio is a city that's safe for cyclists, right? And we have a lot of work left to do. What is it? Between 2020 and 24, we had 18 cyclists killed. And already in 2025, this year, we've had 3 cyclists who've died. And all too often, we think in terms of statistics. And so let me just remind you all, Dr. Kairouz was a San Antonian, and he left behind a family who still mourns him. Tito Bradshaw was a San Antonian, and these are people's sons and daughters and husbands and wives, and we have an obligation to be better, right? And under this mayor and under this council and previous councils, I'm proud to tell you that we've expanded the bike network. We have really taken seriously the Complete Streets policy, the Vision Zero action plan, the transit-oriented development policy, which is new, and our bike network plan. If anything, that's evidence of our dedication to making sure that we don't have more tragedies like Dr. Kairouz and the one suffered by Tito Bradshaw. Now, there's people out there in Austin, in the governor's office, right, who think that dedicating street lanes to cycling is somehow, bad, right? And I don't have enough time or crayons to explain to people why they're wrong, but I will tell you, they are wrong. They're 100% wrong, right? And I'm really happy that up here on this dais, we don't buy into that silliness. And so, Will Long, thank you for bringing this to me. And anything Will Long supports, I always get behind because it's always good for San Antonio. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Pelaez. Councilmember Kaur.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all so much for your advocacy. I feel like we've definitely moved the needle a lot in this last couple of years, but there's still so much to do, and I will never take the chance to not talk about quick build strategies for bike lanes. And so I'm working on one right now with a community member on Cincinnati Avenue, west of I-10 to Zarzamora, because he literally have a constituent that went out there, measured the street, and said there's enough space for a bike lane, and we can use armadillo boulders to actually just screw them in the ground and create a safe and protected bike lane. So we've already submitted that project to Public Works, and hopefully that should be installed soon. But I just want to say thank you all for your work. I did, in honor of Bike Month, buy a new bike this week, and so I'm super excited about my purple Trek. And Councilmember Pelaez just walked out, but I'm going to bike to work tomorrow, so I hope he will join me in doing that too. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaur. Councilmember Alderete Gavito.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to quickly thank you all for y'all's continued advocacy. I think that we've made so much stride here in San Antonio, and you know, with this current council and with the upcoming council, you know, we got to keep, well, our foot on the gas gun is kind of weird analogy to say right now, but you know, I know that we have a lot of plans, but we need to have the urgency on us to put those plans into action. You know, we've been talking a long time about the complete bike path around Woodlawn Lake, and so it's just time to stop talking and start doing. So, and I know that we all feel that together. So we'll just need to keep the heat on. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Alderete Gavito. All right, well, we have the charge. We got to pedal harder. Thanks, y'all. And lastly, if you will allow me, I am going to turn the floor just briefly to Councilmember Kaur to recognize a special guest who is here with us in recognition of a great community servant who we lost named Sonny Valdez. But Councilmember Kaur.
Thank you so much. Ms. Valdez, do you want to come up to the front? Ms. Valdez, thank you so much for being here. I wanted to thank you for all of Sonny and your service to the community. Sonny was an amazing civil servant. He was a Gulf War veteran, and he was a blind advocate, was on our Disability Commission, and also was a hilarious human. He was a comedian, and so we'll be honoring him with a comedy show next Friday. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything you all have done, for being an advocate for the blind community in San Antonio. His work was so important. The last time I spoke with him, he was working with the Brackenridge Park Community Group to ensure that that there were signs showing folks where they could access the bathrooms and how all of our parks and community spaces could be accessible for all of our residents. So we really appreciate him and everything that he did, and you for your service, and we're tremendously sorry for your loss and know that your strength will help get you through this time right now. I also wanted to thank Dr. Villarreal, who's here from Rideshare Connect Texas, who was able to transport and bring you here today, as well as the Broken Warrior Angels, who is going to be paying for Sonny's funeral and supporting the family. This was an organization that Sonny really loved and helped. So just want to say thank you, and that we are here with you, and we're grateful for everything that you all have done. Ms. Valdez, would you want to say anything?
Thank you so much. I appreciate the recognition of my husband, Sonny Valdez. Yes, he loved the community and loved helping everyone for the disabled and for the blind community. And it's an honor that you guys are recognizing my husband, and he lived being part of the board and attending the meetings and everything. So I'm so grateful for all of you, and he introduced me to a lot of good people here in District 1. So I appreciate the recognition. Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you on behalf of my husband. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Valdez.
Thank you very much, Ms. Valdez, for your commitment and your husband's commitment to service.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to get into our individual items now. We'll start with item 4. Got to wake up our IGR team over there. Thank you very much for your patience. Not nearly as bad as a legislative committee hearing, though. So, Sally, the floor is yours.
Item number 4 is a briefing on the 89th legislative session.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Sally Basurto, Director for Government Affairs. Today marks the 122nd day of the 89th state legislative session. As you know, there are a total of 140 days, so we are definitely almost there at the finish line for the regular session. There is still, however, a little bit over 2 weeks, and a lot can happen in those 2 weeks, so let's jump right in. On the House side of the operations, the House is running out of time to get their bills passed out. There are several deadlines that the House is looking to this week, and one of them has passed. This past Monday on May 12th was the last day for House committees to report House bills. Today is the last day for our House to consider the second reading House bills. And looking forward to May 24th, that is the last day for the House committees to report Senate bills. And then onward to May 27th, that is the last day for the House to consider second reading Senate bills. And then finally, June 2nd is the last day of the session, sine die. However, we have not heard yet whether there will be a special session, so we will remain vigilant and report back on that update. Let me be very clear and blunt. There is still a lot of time left. The House is furiously working through their House work, and it remains to be seen how many more bills they have committed to pass out, and keeping in mind that there's still a lot of time left for Senate bills to be considered, leading to the June 2nd deadline. As well, committees are still passing bills out at all hours of the day. Today, the House, we anticipate, will be working through at least midnight, as they have for the last several nights. There's a long list of priority bills that remain outstanding, that the governor and the lieutenant governor have made priority bills. So it's important to note that there's still a lot of work to be done. These last 2.5 weeks, in my opinion, are the most unpredictable days of the session because there's a lot happening. They're working against the clock to make sure that those priority bills get done, and there is consensus in both chambers to ensure that those priority bills get out because they are working against the clock at this time. Let's jump right into fiscal and revenue bills. You will recall HB 19. This was a bill that Jeff Coyle briefed the council a couple of weeks ago. This bill would significantly limit the amount of property tax supported debt by the city. It would impact our voter-approved bonds and our COs. However, as you can see here, it was heard in committee and left pending. We strongly opposed this bill. We engaged our community and business partners, and in our effort to oppose this bill, there was, again, in my opinion, a lot of support and advocacy efforts during those weeks, and so we are hopeful that this has permanently stalled the bill. However, because there's so much Senate work done, We are remaining vigilant to make sure that HB 19 language does not get latched on to another bill, a Senate bill. And there was no Senate companion, so they do have work to do on their end if they plan to do that. But again, I commit to you our vigilance to make sure that we can catch any of those hiccups. Dangerous Dogs Bill, great news. Our dogs bill that Rep. Lujan has been advocating for and sponsored has been chugging through the process. He's been very complimentary of the local work that the councilwoman has done here in the city locally, and often touts that we have done a lot of what can be done at the discretion of the city council. So Rep. Lujan continues to push this through. It passed committee. It is placed on the House calendar for tonight. So on the opposite side of the coin, we hope that this bill will get heard, but I want to manage expectations, again, because the House has a long list of bills to get to, and this bill is listed towards the bottom of today's list. On the Senate side, Senator Menendez's SB 155. Good news there too. It was heard in committee, left pending. So we are leaning on Senator Menendez to continue pushing his bill, essentially companion similar language to Rep. Lujan's 2806. Under the local control bills section, HB 5356, this bill essentially prohibits municipal regulation of horse-drawn carriages, excludes from the prohibition, however, regulations in place before October 1 of 24 that includes veterinary care, inspections, or state animal cruelty laws, or related to the minimum and maximum temperature during which the activity may take place. In a nutshell, this would preempt the City Council's horse-drawn carriage ordinance, but it does give the ability to have those other pieces in place. SB 33 by Senator Campbell prohibits government entities from using taxpayer resources to support abortion assistance entities or provide logistical support for obtaining an abortion. It passed the Senate, as we reported in the past. It's passed House committee, so this bill can still advance. And obviously, it's a priority bill with a low bill number. Further, under local control bills, SB 2858 by Creighton, this is essentially an expansion bill of last session's HB 2127, often called the Death Star bill. This bill, as written, remains very vague and very flawed, like HB 2127 from last session. It essentially expands the areas in which cities can be preempted from adopting or enforcing ordinances, in particular sections, the Elections Code, Health and Safety Code. Unfortunately, it passed the Senate, it's heard in House committee, left pending just this week. This bill saw an extensive amount of opposition at this week's hearing. Several counties and cities, large and small communities testified in strong opposition of this bill. Of course, we opposed it along with our other city partners and TML, and hopefully enough concerns were raised at the committee this week, and hopefully it is again left pending, but we're watching very closely. Public Safety Administration bills, HB 3594. We supported this bill. This is the SA Fire Police Retiree Healthcare Funds bill. It achieves multiple improvements for participants at no cost to the city. Good news, passed the House, referred to the Senate committee, and it was voted favorably just this week on May 14th. Senator Menendez is helping to usher it through the Senate process and ready to carry it onward. Miscellaneous bills, y'all are familiar with HB 150. This is a priority bill for the governor. This establishes the cyber command at UTSA. We remain in close communication with our UTSA partners. They remain very hopeful. They asked me to deliver that there are ongoing discussions to continue to advance this initiative, and there is funding in the budget to establish this initiative. So we'll see more hopefully next week, see how this evolves further. But as you know, as a governor priority, this will continue to advance in the days to come. SB 1173, we supported this bill. This increases competitive bidding threshold from 50,000 to 100,000. The status, it passed in the Senate and passed to third reading in the House. Essentially, this bill increases the bidding threshold for formal solicitations from 50,000 to 100,000. This creates efficiencies in procurement processes by expediting procurement for smaller value procurements. Under the miscellaneous bills umbrella, HB 167, I briefed you on this one early and often in the session. This is the overarching DEI bill that would have affected our DEI office operations and our procurement programs. In February 27th, when it was referred to committee, the bill was never heard. So it was essentially left in committee, it never moved, and so it's by all, opinions stalled there, and we hope that we saw the end of that one, at least for this session. SB 689, this is another DEI bill that has seen some movement, prohibiting DEI offices in local governments. Unfortunately, it passed the Senate, passed House committee just this week on May 12, and so we're keeping a really close eye on this bill. Additional miscellaneous bills, SB 872, this is a bill that we supported, increasing penalty or burglary of a vehicle if the offense includes the theft of a firearm. Passed the Senate, and it was referred to the House Committee on 510, so this bill has also seen some good movement. SB 38, we opposed this bill. This changes laws regarding eviction processes. If this bill was to pass, it changes the eviction processes to expedite evictions, shortening the time frame by which a tenant can be evicted for non-payment, and it also modifies the court processes for faster eviction orders. This bill did pass the Senate, passed the House Committee on the SB side, and then on the HB passed the committee, and it was placed on the House calendar. I believe it's still on the House calendar today, so it still, unfortunately, does have life. A couple more miscellaneous bills. SB 19, this is prohibiting the use of public funds by political subdivision for lobbying activities. We opposed this bill, passed the Senate, referred to House Committee on March 25th. So it stalled in the House Committee and no further movement. SB 1202 by King. This is a third-party review of development documents and inspections, including home backup power installations. This bill, of course, we opposed. This bill does not impact CPS. Passed the Senate, passed House Committee, and it was sent to calendars in the beginning of the month. So this one, as well as the Senate bill, still has life, of course. A couple more miscellaneous bills. SB 464. This is one of the e-cigarette prohibition bills that we have been tracking. This one's by Senator Campbell, prohibits the sales of e-cigarettes within 1,000 feet of public and private schools. It allows for more restrictive local regulations. So we should be okay with the addition of adding daycares and universities to the local ordinance. However, it does include the 50% threshold that would likely that we would need to follow and/or adjust to the City Council's ordinance. That particular piece essentially says that municipal ordinance adopted under this bill does not apply to an e-cigarette retailer whose gross receipts from a sale of e-cigarettes are less than 50%. So these are your pharmacies, Walgreens, CVS type stores. One more miscellaneous bill, HB 111. This amends the Texas Public Information Act, significantly limiting our attorney-client privilege exception. We opposed this bill. It essentially tightens up the attorney-client privilege exemption and directing the AG to be err on the side or lean on the side of being very transparent when determining if and how much the attorney-client privilege would apply. So we oppose this bill. Unfortunately passed the Senate. It's been received in the Senate, so we're watching this one very closely as well. Still live to many of these Senate bills, naturally just because June 2nd is about 18 days away. Mayor and Council, this concludes my presentation. Mayor, if I may, I just want to recognize the support and the expertise of all the department heads and the department state liaisons and the leadership of Chairman Pelaez and the IGR Council Committee. They have given us the opportunity to bring to them some of the most difficult scenarios during the state ledge session. Thank you for your guidance, Mayor, as well, and your support. Again, the next 2.5 weeks will remain vigilant and report back as needed. In the meantime, we are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Sally, for the presentation. Councilmember Pelaez serves as our chair of our IGR committee. Councilmember Pelaez.
Thanks. Sally, I know these legislative sessions just suck the years out of your lifespan, and I appreciate the work that you do and that your team does. But the unsung heroes here are also your families who don't see you during the legislative session. Y'all are pulling double duty, right? Being moms and wives and dads and husbands during and being away, right? And being out at the front line. So that does not go unseen. Okay. The second thing is I understand that HB 19 is going to be dying on the vine in all likelihood. That they may try to take ornaments off that tree and hang them on other trees. I get that, and thank you for being vigilant and making sure that our ability to do streets and sidewalks and pay for the things that people expect us to pay for, that ability continues to be ours. Thank you for opposing the way we have instructed you, opposing anything that erodes our ability to manage our own affairs and to be a home rule city. With regards to DEI, and Andy, this may be for you. The bill that was proposed and that currently seems like it'll make it to the finish line would prohibit the maintenance of a DEI department, which is it is what it is, right? But the second thing is it would prohibit the adoption or maintaining the enforcement of any quote-unquote DEI policy, right? And so my question for you is would that require us to dissolve the mayor's commission on the status of women, or the commission on LGBTQ affairs, or our disability commission, or our commission on elderly affairs? Because those immutable traits, and just simply recognizing them, is heretical, to this worldview that, quote-unquote identity politics should not have a role in government.
Councilman, right now our view of the bill is that it would not prohibit all the items that you're talking about. In other words, we would still have all the commissions you talked about. We will obviously keep an eye on it, but they're very specific, are the restrictions. We feel a lot of the activity that currently we have ongoing, particularly a lot of compliance activity that's in the DEI department, will continue to go forward because they're essential to not only compliance with law, but delivery of city services.
My understanding is that the prohibition is written in such a way to where you can't maintain a DEI office, but it doesn't say that you can't maintain an office that carries out those functions. So a rose by any other name, Andy, right? Well, can you unpack that for me?
I'm going to ask Liz to give you some more insight on that. She's been following it very closely.
Thank you, Councilman. Liz Provencio with the City Attorney's Office. And the specificity with the current bill that we're addressing, and we had spent time talking to you about a more expansive bill, but this one is more narrow and specifically drills down into prohibiting activities that we wouldn't do anyway because they're prohibited and they're illegal by other law. So it's just a matter of us taking a deep dive and making sure that we look through what eventually, if it does get passed, gets passed, but with regard to the essential functions of what we're doing, we would be in compliance. Now, there are certain things that we do have to look for to be sure there's some sensitivity regarding certain training and other things where could require modification, could require us to review and ensure that we're framing it in a way that is more focused on what is allowable, but the essence of what the department does and the way that San Antonio has done it can continue.
So right now, as proposed, this more narrow bill does not prohibit us from enforcing our and living up to our values, right? Which is nobody in this organization will be retaliated against on the basis of these immutable traits, right? Or their religion. Number two, nobody will be fired, harassed on the basis of these traits. And number three, if anybody makes those complaints, we will take it very seriously and live up to our obligations under employment law discrimination rules, right?
Correct.
All right. And then as far as, other quote unquote training, we will still be able to train police officers on cultural differences of the people with whom they have contact in the public, right? Mental health differences and how to approach members of the public different depending on their immutable traits, right?
We will be able to effectively provide services that are expected of our community, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Those are my questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Pelaez. Councilmember Alderete-Gavito.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Sally, for that presentation. I do want to echo Councilman Pelaez's comments that we do see and realize all the time that you all are giving up away from your families, away from home life, all that kind of stuff for advocating on our behalf. So thank you. I do want to stress that point. I just had a couple of quick comments. I think we're all crossing our fingers that HB 19 doesn't go any further. So thank y'all for y'all's work on that. And then also too, I'm so glad that we're making headway on House Bill 2806, the dangerous dogs bill. Thank you, Sally, for keeping me updated on that, and hopefully we can cross the finish line in a successful way. There are several great bills that I'm hoping that will pass, but there's also some alarming bills that I hope that they could be very damaging to San Antonio, and I hope we can put a stop to it. So thank y'all for all y'all's hard work, and we're almost to the finish line. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Alderete-Gavito. Councilmember White.
Thanks, Mayor. Last time we got updated, we talked about SB 32, Sally, and I wonder if you have an update on where that is. For those that don't recall, this is the bill that increases for businesses a property tax exemption on the equipment that they use to make money. And small businesses all over the city here, in my opinion, would benefit from it. And what we learned last time, I guess after the meeting, y'all were nice enough to go back and check, but the city has registered opposition to that bill. Where is that bill right now?
Councilman White, the companion to SB 32 is HB 9. That's the bill that you're talking about. This is the tax exemption increase for personal property. This bill saw a committee substitute at the committee level, and essentially the exemption went from $225,000 to $125,000. So there was a $100,000 reduction. As we shared previously, we opposed this bill due to the fiscal impact to the city of San Antonio. Because the exemption was reduced by $100,000, we're looking still at approximately a $7 million impact to the city.
Right, so the bill's still pending and our opposition is still out there.
That's correct.
Yeah, so, this is something that I would welcome my colleagues' input on. And I had a discussion afterwards on this with Jeff and with Eric. And listen, I understand it's going to have a fiscal impact to the city. Anytime you wipe away property taxes, it's going to have an impact on the city. But this is a bill that would help small businesses all over this city. I mean, $125,000 exemption on equipment that these businesses use to earn a living would help San Antonio businesses. So I get it. It would be less revenue, less tax revenue for the city should this thing pass. But who up here is against providing this tax exemption for these businesses? And so I'll reiterate what I said last time. This is a policy question that I think we need to debate on this dais, and not something where with all due respect, staff should be making the decision. And I've talked to businesses not only in District 10 but across our community about this since the last time we had this discussion, and this personal property tax exemption would be very beneficial to them. So I'm unsure why the city would oppose assisting small businesses in this manner. And so I would welcome my colleagues' comments on this. And again, I think that when we look forward to 2 years from now, using a form statement in our legislative agenda saying that we have, staff can oppose anything that has a fiscal impact on the city. I think we got to look at revising that, specifically because of situations like this. I personally don't believe that the majority of this council would be against providing this property tax exemption for businesses in the state and here in San Antonio. And so I would like to see us look at withdrawing our opposition to that particular bill. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Councilmember Rocha Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. And so thank you, Sally, for all of the work that you and the team are doing. And I know it's going to be a rough couple of weeks still ahead. And so thank you for the late nights, et cetera, that you all have been working. I have a question on the Lujan bill on the horse-drawn carriage. I know it's placed on the House calendar. When did you say it was expected to be heard? Or
It's on the House floor calendar, Councilwoman, for today.
Today.
So it will be a long night. That bill is also towards the bottom of the House floor list, so it remains to be seen. Without a crystal ball, there's no way to know how fast or slow the House will process those bills.
Got it, thank you. And then there is HB 6, which I was having a meeting with a mom yesterday who has 2 special needs kids, and I was just wondering if you had heard anything about this bill. So one of the things that she was telling me about is that she has a child that essentially had to go to different schools because they essentially the child got an expulsion from these different schools. But there's apparently something that would be passing, I don't know if it was sometime this week, about the school district not needing to provide additional help to that parent. And the reason that I was asking about that is she gave me the example of one day she was essentially threatened by the child, and I mean, it's her own child. She called SAPD, and SAPD told her they couldn't drive the child to Child Clarity themselves. And so they said, you can drive, the child will follow you. But she was scared for her life. And I know that there's a lot of parents out there, but I saw when I was reading through the bill to try to understand a little bit better that they wouldn't be required to, like, for instance, pay Child Clarity Center to help them at the school district, I'm saying. And so have you all heard anything about that? Because it was the first time that I had heard, and it was just from a distraught parent. So I was just wondering if you know anything about that.
I don't, Councilwoman.
Okay.
It's not on our tracker. I wouldn't be surprised if our Bexar County Education Coalition partners are tracking it, so we can definitely reach out and ask them.
Yeah, and maybe you just put me in contact or just a quick email. I just want to stay on top of it. I know it's not necessarily city business, but it's one of our residents, right? And so anyway, so thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Rocha Garcia. Councilmember Kaur.
Thank you, Mayor. Sally, thank you so much for the presentation and for all of the work that is going on at the state. I was telling Councilmember McKee-Rodriguez in the back that sometimes I just don't understand what's going on up there, but thank you all to our delegates from the community here that are working really hard to fight the good fight. I noticed that a lot of the housing bills that we were tracking earlier are no longer on our updates because I'm thinking they didn't make it out of committee. So there was one on affordable housing for workforce development. I think it was SB 208, and then there was another one on SB 234. So I'm guessing those just didn't make it out of committee, right?
I believe Nadia just informed me that they were left pending in committee.
So that means they're basically not getting traction.
Pretty much.
And so
They're
anything
stalled.
that's left pending in committee right now has no hope of making
If it didn't make it to the House calendar earlier this week, Councilwoman, then they're not going to advance any further. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the only thing that could possibly happen is some language makes it onto a Senate bill, but sometimes with housing bills, they're so complex that it's unlikely to happen.
So did we get any good housing bills out of this legislation that could help us with affordable housing?
We're going to have to go back and look, and certainly can share an update for you
If there
specifically.
is, that would be
I know
awesome.
Mark Carmona is here, and he was specifically tracking very specific bills, and we can get with him to
If you
put
can
a
just
focus
mark
on
if
those.
there's anything that would be helpful for us, if you could send us a note, I think that would be great. I know there was another one about that I think Senator Menendez filed with the TOD funding for using state highway funds for that, but I think that was also left pending. So if there is any movement, I just wanted to generally say that I think we need to try to see as much as we can how we can get support from the state for housing, which I know we're all aligned on. And then as far as Councilmember White's question on the small business support, I have heard this, but the question that I have is how much of that bill would help small businesses versus our larger organizations that are funding into property tax? Does it specify like the level of revenue that Jeff, do you kind of understand what I'm saying?
No, it's not limited to a specific type of business. It's clearly, it's an exemption for personal property held for income-producing purposes. So that's the business inventory exemption.
So I think first of all, businesses can write off cars as personal property too, right? Would that be in?
Write-off typically refers to federal taxation,
Okay.
but I don't know the answer specifically about the definitions that fall under that personal property.
Okay, so I guess my push or my thought for this would be that if it were truly a bill only looking to help our small businesses, from like some of the F&B businesses will reach out to me and tell me, hey, our equipment like our fridge and our gas and things like that, those need to be depreciated at a quicker pace than the state actually allows them to. I think if it had confines and structure around it that was specifically targeted to small businesses, I could understand your argument. But for all businesses in general, I don't think a blanket exemption would help us. And then going into a deficit for our budget this year, we're already struggling on things to cut. I have no idea if we lost $7 million in our budget, what would be the first thing to go. So that would be why I would continue to support our opposition to that bill, unless it had more constructs solely focused to our small businesses, making under a certain amount of revenue or something that would really help those businesses stay in effect. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaur. Councilmember Courage.
Thank you, Mayor. I almost want to reiterate what the councilwoman just said, and I was just pointing out to my council colleague when he asked me what I thought about this is, When we talk about property taxes, most of the time we're talking about residential property, and we don't think about personal property. But that's because personal property in somebody's home is not taxed. And when we're talking about residential property, whether it's an apartment complex or a house, you're talking about shelter, which is a human need. We need to have shelter. Without shelter, we couldn't exist. And so trying to give breaks to shelter, I think, it makes sense, even for the city. On the other hand, businesses are in business to make money. They're in business to enrich themselves. Yes, they offer services, they offer products, but if they weren't going to make money off of it, they wouldn't do it. And so, when we're using personal property to make a financial gain, I think the city has a vested interest in protecting the revenue that we get so that we can continue to provide the services that people need throughout the city. So unless, as you just heard my colleagues say, we're going to target small businesses and protect them so that they can continue to exist, then we're just saying to every business, no matter how big, how small, what level of billions of dollars in profit you're making, like an oil and gas company or a small store, I think it's too carte blanche, and I don't think it benefits the city. So, that's my opinion, and I hope we continue to be opposed to that law. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Courage. Councilmember White.
Well, so this is great. I mean, this is the conversation that we should be having. So it is making my first point, which is that this should have been a conversation up here on the dais before we went and registered opposition, because just like you guys work with the various representatives up at the state level to say, hey, maybe we can tweak this, maybe we can tweak that. Some of my colleagues' comments a minute ago on restricting the bill or tailoring it to small businesses, these are things that we could have worked on with the state rather than just simply registering opposition to a bill that would help our businesses here in San Antonio. And to my colleague to the left, to his comments, I mean, protecting our revenue, I'm going to say it again, we don't have a revenue problem in this city. We have a spending problem, all right? And if you want to do anything we can to raise revenue, well, we could raise the property tax rates on our citizens too. We could raise fees on all sorts of things and bring in more revenue. But here there's an opportunity at the state level to reduce the tax burden on businesses. And when that happens, right, our businesses have more money in their pocket. They can hire more of our citizens here that need jobs. They can pay their employees better wages when they have those additional funds as well. So we should be doing more as a body to help our businesses all across the state and certainly here in San Antonio. And on this particular bill, we never even got a chance to go and work with the state government, with our representatives up there to maybe tailor the bill into something that we could all support up here. And that is really the issue, and I hope we look at that moving forward. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Any further discussion? Eric?
Yep, Mayor, thank you. So Councilman White and I have talked about this issue a couple of times, and I appreciate the conversation here. I mean, really this goes back to, the early work that we do as designing our legislative agenda. And and I'm going to give you two examples of maybe the conversation that we should have going forward as we prepare for the next legislative session. The legislative agenda is critical because it summarizes the city's points in topical areas in advance of 8,000 bills being filed, and is our guidepost. And there's a portion there are two portions in our legislative agenda. One is that we oppose legislation that would be detrimental to the city's interest and results in the loss of revenue or negatively impacts the authority to generate revenues. And that's kind of a broad statement about protecting. That's the broad statement that the councilman referred to. There's another one, and this is an example of maybe the conversation, the council, if you'd like to have that in advance of the next legislative session, that says that we will support legislation that provides sustainable property tax relief to San Antonio residents. That is not commercial in nature. That is about, to Councilman Courage's point, to residents of property on the residential side. And so if the council so chooses 2 years from now or a year and a half from now, as we're preparing the legislative agenda, to narrowly focus the conversation, then this is the appropriate time to do that. That will be the appropriate time to do that. We use this as a guidepost, and so I just want to reiterate that it's not Sally up there in Austin deciding to oppose bills or support bills based on how her drive up 35 was that morning. It is based on the legislative agenda, and I think the aspect of the agenda that talks about sustainable property tax relief for residents. If we want to talk about small businesses or size and scale, then we should probably have that conversation in advance of that legislative agenda next time around. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Eric. And that's all I was going to summarize as well. And I'll just remind folks, that this is a legislative season, obviously has competing interests. And unfortunately, our discussion gets boiled down into competing sound bites, and they're great for TV, but they're not very good for deliberation. And I'll say this, what Eric just described is the nature of our deliberations here. What we arrive at as a policy direction is consensus. This is a consensus body. The essential public policy issue or challenge for all of us, whether it's local government, state government, or global government, is an understanding that depending on where you are in the world, the needs are different. I mean, go to the east side. The needs are a lot different than you would experience maybe on the north central side. The same is true everywhere in the city. So what we do as a city is a result of consensus. We decide the direction we're going to take to benefit the community as a whole. And that's where we get into some of these points of friction. And I'll just say this. One man or one district's spending problem is another district's homeless services, or another district's equal amount of infrastructure spending, or health spending, or all the other things that we hear from constituents needs. And so we've got to figure out as a body with limited resources the best way to move forward together. And that is the consensus direction that we arrive at, whether it's a legislative agenda or anything else we do here as a city, inclusive of creating a budget every year that addresses all those concerns. So thank you, Sally, for your team, the entire team, for all the work that they're doing throughout the year. I know it's very challenging circumstances because you think sound bites are the way I operate here. To go to Austin, and that's about all you would get in terms of deliberation, and that's not a good way to do governing. So thank you again, Sally, for all the great work. With that, we'll move on now to item 14.
Item number 14 is an ordinance designating a certain geographic area in the city of San Antonio as project financing zone number 2, city of San Antonio, Texas, and providing an expiration date for the zone.
Do you need a presentation? Okay. Councilmember Courage. Just,
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think I need a presentation, but
actually, before we begin the discussion, then let me entertain a motion for approval of item 14.
I'll move to approve it.
Okay. There's a motion, a second. Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
Okay, thank you. Really, it was a matter of trying to answer a few questions so the general public would have a better understanding. And I know if you started to explain it, it would be so we understand it, but maybe not the general public. So let me just ask you a few questions. The PFZ, Public Facility Zone, is that the correct public?
Project Finance Zone.
Project Finance Zone, thank you. So the Project Finance Zone was approved by the state a few years ago, and they've ascertained from what we've asked them that we are eligible for what we're calling a sports and entertainment zone. Is that correct?
Can I add a little bit of context to your question, Councilman? A bit, sure. So the legislature in 2023 allowed the city to be able to access this financing tool, which is a project finance zone.
Right.
Within the statute, it defines what you can use this state funding for in terms of qualified or eligible projects. So what we are doing with this zone is designating the convention center complex, which is comprised of the Alamo Dome, a convention center, and a potential NBA arena as the qualified project that meets that eligibility under the statute. And then we could use those state revenues to help fund those projects.
And it's a 3-mile radius around those projects that are eligible for state tax for hotels or car rentals that can be returned to the city, is that correct?
Not car rentals, so it's a 3-mile radius around the center of the 3 sites. So if you take the epicenter of the convention center, the Alamo Dome, and the potential NBA arena, you draw a 3-mile zone. It's attached to the agenda item. We can capture the incremental growth in the state hot tax, the state sales tax within the businesses that operate within the hotels, and the mixed beverage tax within those hotels that are within the 3-mile zone. It does not increase taxes.
Right.
It redirects those dollars from the state budget back to us for these eligible uses.
Right, and within that area, I guess I would refer to it be something like a TERS. In other words, it's geared towards tax money that can be used to be reinvested in the zone to improve whatever the facilities are within the zone you delegate, right?
Yes, as long as it meets the statutory
Right.
definition of what the state wants us to spend that funding on.
Yeah, for example, we're looking at the Wood Federal Courthouse that the city has taken as something that could become eligible for funding to make improvements to that, right?
Not from the project finance zone.
No?
So the project finance zone, under the statute, is limited to a convention center or a venue. Venues typically defined as a convention center, an auditorium, an arena, a coliseum, some venue like that. So in our case, this is our qualifying project. And why we're designating it as a complex is we get a great more flexibility under state law by designating it as a complex with those 3 projects that I mentioned being part of it.
Right.
There is I'm going to use the word shot clock, seems to work, 5-year time frame from when we set the zone by which we have to commence the project. We've got to actually enter into a contract.
Okay, you're
and move
getting
forward.
into
So-
a lot more. I just had a couple more questions I'd like some specific answer to. So if the Wood Federal Building was developed by a private entity, would then it be available for funding?
From the project finance zone?
Yeah.
We'd have to look at that, Councilman. I don't think it's going to meet the statutory definition of what we're talking about from a
Okay.
qualified project.
So
The other-
it couldn't be any public or private or nonprofit, a project within the zone could not be eligible then?
We would have to go back and probably get state authorization for that. I don't think it would meet the definition of venue necessarily. The other challenge is you're going to layer another zone on top of the existing zone. They're all going to compete for the same dollar.
Okay. Well, those are all the questions I had then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Courage. Any further discussion on item 14? Okay, hearing none, there is a motion and a second for approval of 14. Councilmember Kaur.
Sorry. I just wanted to quickly add, Ben, I know this is, the item that we're talking about today is the finance item, but I also know that we have a plan for community engagement that's being developed and going to be released really soon. So this may not be a you question, Ben, but Eric, since this item is up, can you just briefly give us a quick summary of when we can expect that plan to be released for community engagement? Because I did see a video yesterday talking about wanting more information.
Thanks, Councilwoman. So actually, I met with the contractor, myself and some of the staff met with them earlier this week. We're finalizing that plan. We'll be getting that back out to you. Ideally, it is meant to be able to solicit feedback from the community around the entire district and the concepts and a number of the other issues, but hope to have that finalized here in the next couple of days and a memo to you all that we'll also make available to the public.
Thank you, Eric. I just wanted to say that I know this item today is administrative for this work, but I think what the community is really looking for is an engagement plan, a community benefits agreement. So I know the meat of that work is going to happen over the next several months, and that we have not, I just wanted to say that we have not forgotten about that, and it is a key priority for all of us. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaur. Any further discussion on item 14? Okay, hearing none, there's a motion and a second for approval. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 16.
Item 16 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual operating and capital budget based on actual revenues and expenditures for the first 6 months of fiscal year 2025, October 2024 through March 2025, and projections for the remaining 6 months of fiscal year 2025, April 2025 to September 2025, in the general fund and restricted funds.
All right, this was pulled by Councilmember Alderete Gavito.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I don't need the presentation. Thank you, Justina. I just want to ensure that council has a full understanding of the cuts being proposed. I know it's necessary to make the adjustments because we're projecting a deficit at the year's end, and as council members, we're tasked with being responsible stewards of the taxpayer dollars. So to me, it's important that we're all clear on what those cuts will be and how they can impact our residents. I know that I saw some reductions to major departments like the Department of Human Services, Parks, Code Enforcement, and Public Works. So can you give us a super brief overview of the department budgets that will be reduced through this adjustment?
So the adjustments that you see in the 6+6 report are just to align spending with their projections. So no service cuts are included.
Okay, perfect. And I think that's important for us to realize that no service cuts are projected. I am seeing a pretty substantial reduction in the parks budget. I mean, can you all tell us if this will impact pending projects that we have at Woodlawn Lake?
No, it will not.
Okay, great. I also know the federal government is threatening cuts to the homeless continuum of care. Will these reductions impact our services to people experiencing homelessness or us cleaning up encampments?
No service cuts.
Okay, perfect. That's really what I wanted us to know and all of us to have an awareness on. So thank you. I'm supportive of the staff recommendations for the mid-year budget adjustments as proposed. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Alderete Gavito. Any further discussion on item 16? Oh, we don't. Okay, let me entertain a motion. Excuse me.
Motion to approve.
Apologize for that. We do have a motion and a second for approval of item 16. Without any further discussion, please vote. Motion carries. All right, Eric, over to you. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item, our video of the week, actually a pretty special one. I know Mother's Day was last weekend, but a quick video on a mother-daughter employees that work in Parks and Rec, and a little bit of a lighthearted video, but some undertones of importance that hopefully you see in the video. Let's roll it.
We have a dog named Princess. My granddaughter, they call him Princess. So, and I'm Princess, get over here. And they are my daughters and my granddaughters and the dog looks. So my name is Savannah Rodriguez. I'm Rodriguez. I'm Renata.
I work for the Urban Park Operations, and I've been here for 3 years and 4 months.
My name's Rena Linares. I've been in Cleveland Green for 5 years and Trails for 2 years, and it's just keeps getting better and better.
Yes, I did want to follow in her footsteps. Got hired, and I was really excited and blessed. I love servicing the parks. I try to make it, serviced and clean and maintenance, and as well safe for everyone.
What I do in the trails, make sure that it's a safety environment, that there's not trash or debris from the weather in the trailway where they could hurt themselves.
Has there been a time where you all have worked together on a project?
Yes, for her to experience the same crew leaders, I'm like, they're awesome. You're gonna love them. Man, you got good crew leaders. I've always told her, hey, you need to be professional no matter where you're at, because you're gonna grow. And I've always seen her grow. It is any mother's dream, I would say. And now I get to see the beauty and the outcome.
As a mother myself, I'm very blessed for my mom, and for her guiding me and helping me through life. Cherish that time that you have.
So that was a nice video, and we have probably a lot of families that work in our 13,000 employee team, and it was nice to see both Rena and Savannah and their outlook in an area that's really of importance in terms of maintaining the trails and the park systems, and so thank you to them for participating in our video this week. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Eric. We do not have an executive session today, so the time is 11:45 a.m. on May 15th, 2025, and our A session is now adjourned. Note there is a 2 p.m. zoning agenda. Have a great morning.